This is Training Battalion Chief Brandon Garcia. On May 14th, Fognails will be placed on all the PFA engines. This video will serve as a refresher on its intended use, how they'll be stored on the engines, and how they'll be supplied and used from the engines, and provide some guidance on the strategic and tactical thought process for its tactical use. The Fognail can be used for both surface and gas cooling for firefighting. This water delivery device flows a low water volume of 20 to 30 gallons per minute and operates at a higher pressure with a pressure range between 150 and 200 psi discharge pressure. Each engine will receive a restrictor fognail and an attack fognail. Each fognail will be marked the following way. The restrictor pattern is ideal anytime we place the nail in a vertical position. Examples of this would be placing it through the ceiling for water distribution into an attic space or through the roof decking into an attic. This pattern is ideal for these specific applications because the nozzle will throw the water horizontally. The restrictor pattern is also effective for fires burning in wall void spaces, as well as through the floor above a basement fire. The attack nozzle is ideal when placing the nail in a horizontal position. Examples of this would be through a gable end of a house, soffit attack, or through an exterior wall. The gable end use of the fognail for attic fires is ideal when the seat of the fire is unknown and you're trying to affect and cool as much of the environment as possible. This pattern is not ideal in a vertical deployment orientation as it will simply disperse the water in an isolated spot in the attic or space applying the water. The attack nozzle can also be used on car fires. As with any water delivery device, it will only be effective if it is placed in an area where it can absorb heat and energy. Use of the tick and identifying fire origin and path of extension will assist in deciding the point of water delivery. The nozzles of the fognails help to produce a small water droplet that makes gas cooling very effective. When the water is placed into a heated environment, greater than 212 degrees, the water droplets are converted to steam as they pass through the heated gases. In this process, occurring thousands of times, will pull energy from the environment and reduce the temperature in that space. Fire cannot propagate without heat. So by keeping these spaces as closed off as possible after water is delivered, the converted steam and smoke in the space will aid in fire propagation and suppression. Understand that smoke conditions from the exterior may resemble smoke conditions of advancing fire growth. In the case of attic fires, the conversion of water can cause the smoke velocity to increase, and depending on where the conversion takes place in conjunction with a vent or other opening, It may be a while before you actually see conversion smoke appear from the exterior. Knowing this, the most accurate way to determine the effectiveness of water placed into these areas is to measure temperatures. If the overall temperature drops, then fire propagation is not possible. Inversely, if we see temperatures increase, then we know that the water application was not effective, and we will need to move the Fognail to a different location. Understanding building construction and anomalies with it are important when trying to deliver effective water to these spaces. This is true when using any water delivery appliance, not just the Fognail. The best way to measure temperature changes is at vent openings or surface on the exterior of the space that are thin and in contact with the gases on the inside. Excellent examples of this would be attic vents on rooftops. Walls and roof decking take a long time to heat up and a long time to cool down, so these surfaces will only give us a delayed response. When we talk about steam conversion, the concern is always steam expansion. Conversely, it is also important to remember the amount of contraction that occurs when we cool an environment of hot gases. The recent basement fire conducted by UL Safety Research Institute showed that there is a negating factor between these two events that basically cancel each other out. For as much expansion that occurs, there is equally the same amount of contraction that negates the expansion effect. You will see as they flowed all the water delivery devices tested that there was never a spike in pressure. Rather, a negative pressure initially that quickly stabilized to the baseline pressure, but never an increase in the overall pressure of the space. The Fognails will be stored in the rear driver's side compartment on all engines. On the older engines and reserves, they will be stored in the tool panel held in with a vertical PVC tube. On the newer engines, they will be held to the tool panel using adjustable tool mounts on the adjustable slotted panel. To use the Fognail, simply remove the appropriate nozzle for the desired pattern based on the situation. Remove the adjustable nozzle from the booster line and attach the Fognail. This line will be pumped to an ideal discharge pressure of 200 psi. However, a pressure between 150 and 200 psi is acceptable. All Fognails need a purchase point or hole. This can best be achieved by baseball swinging the pike end of the Halligan through the surface you are wanting to deliver water through. Make sure that the pike gets completely buried. A light tapping may be needed to finish it off. The only exception to this is if you are deploying it through a light material like sheetrock, as in the case of using the restrictor through the ceiling of a home to distribute water into the attic. In this situation, you may be able to simply shove the Fognail straight through the drywall. If multiple Fognails are needed, the trucks are equipped with wildland Ys and hose clamps. If a single nail was already in use and the Y is needed to be placed to supply multiple nails, simply shut down the booster, bleed the line, and attach the Y and supply lines off it as needed. If you're unable to communicate to the DO to shut the line down, you can fold the line over, or use a wildland hose clamp, which the trucks are equipped with, as well as additional hose. Captain Tice Umbrella will now talk about their strategic and tactical thought process when deciding to use the Fognail.
Hello, this is Tice Umbrella, Training Captain with Poudre Fire Authority. In our training video today, we are going to talk about strategic and tactical uses of the Fognails. The Fognail is just another tool for our tactical toolboxes, and having a detailed understanding of how it works is critical for its overall effectiveness. It's ideal for extinguishing fires in confined spaces, or fires that are hard to access like attic, basement, or well-advanced fires, where an offensive attack may not be initially available. They are most efficient when applied to sealed compartments that are vent-limited, but they're also effective in vented compartments as well. An example of this is an attic fire that has burned through the roof. In addition, it can be used to keep us out of IDLH environments. The Fognail is not a replacement for a well-placed attack line, or to be used when conditions allow for a traditional interior attack. All officers still need to use sound fireground decision-making and select the appropriate water delivery tool and location, and always have a contingency plan in place. Anytime a Fognail is used, hand lines still need to be assigned. You will be receiving two Fognails, an attack and a restrictor Fognail. The attack pattern is similar to a 30-degree fog pattern, and the restrictor has a fan-type pattern, similar to some of the old piercing nozzles. Each has a total distance of 20 to 25 feet, so understanding these patterns is important for deciding which one to use. Some important items to remember when using the Fognails are, when using them offensively in confined spaces, start off with 10 seconds of flow, and then monitor temperatures in reliable locations such as attic vents. You can always flow more if needed or move the nail to a different location. Remember, effective water application will mimic deteriorating conditions, so expect to see increased smoke velocity after water application. Temperature changes are the key to determining its effectiveness or ineffectiveness. For defensive operations or when the nail will be placed in a dangerous location like an unstable roof, be sure to incorporate the Y from one of the truck companies. Determining whether you're using this as an offensive or a defensive tool is also important. Defensively, the Fognail is a great way to keep fire from spreading horizontally. Basically, we're just putting sprinkler heads at points that are defined by us to prevent the fire from spreading. And this application will not be concerned about water damage, so the nails will be left open to flow continuously while we make an attack on the main body of the fire. Here's a diagram depicting an option for an offensive use of the Fognail in void spaces. In this picture, there's a living space surrounded by knee wall spaces and a small attic space above. The restrictors would be ideal for this use. Here's a fire that I was on that was a result of a lightning strike. The fire was confined to the attic and had not moved into the living area of the home. Not having Fognails at this time, our tactics were to open the roof, which allowed the fire to grow, but was quickly extinguished with hose lines. A restrictor Fognail placed at the gable end of the structure with a short water application would have been ideal in this situation. Here is another defensive situation where the Fognails are not being used to extinguish the fire, but rather preventing the fire from spreading horizontally by creating a fire block. In years past, the fire service would use trench cuts with the same intent. We know that this tactic brings a fire to the cuts that have been made. Using the Fognails in this situation will require less time, labor, coordination, and keep the fire from spreading. Controlling the Fognails with the Ys on the ground is critical with this application, and as stated earlier, we would keep them flowing. Furthermore, a Fognail placed low on the gable end of the fire-involved portion of this roof would also help with fire suppression, although this isn't pictured here. Here's an example of this type of fire that occurs often at PFA where this tactic would be useful. Ideally, the Fognail placement would be done off of aerials, ground ladders, and roof ladders to ensure the safety of the firefighters deploying them. Here's an example of a roof with multiple roof sections and how the Fognails can be used. Here's an example of this that occurred here at PFA, where the crews experienced roof sections that were built over existing roof sections. This wasn't determined until they cut the roof and saw that another section was below. Again, if you deploy a Fognail and don't get the desired result, think through the situation and evaluate other points for water application. Loveland experienced a similar situation where the Fognail was placed through the top of the roof with no success. Later on, they found that sections of the roof had vaulted ceilings, so the water was going into the unaffected living space. If it had been placed on the other side of the ridge, then it would have been in an attic. We never know what we'll come across in terms of construction, so be patient, monitor, and reposition the Fognail as needed. Here's an example of Fognail tactics if we can't get on the roof based on conditions. Here you'll see nails placed through the gable end of the structure using attack patterns or even going through the soffit. Again, the use of ground ladders and roof ladders or aerials will be necessary for the placement of these, as well as using the Ys on the ground to control water flow. Here's an example of using the Fognails for a defensive tactic on buildings with hazardous content. The Forney fire that we had several years ago is a great example of this. At the time, we cut holes in exterior walls at several locations to get water inside. The opening of the structure allowed for fire propagation, so multiple nails at several locations along the exterior walls left open would be necessary for this type of fire. Here's an example of a garage fire that occurred on West Stewart. A short attack Fognail application through the garage door prior to opening it for interior follow-up extinguishment would be an acceptable tactic in this situation. Here's another garage fire that's vent limited, and we know that simply opening this building could cause a dramatic fire event. So keeping it closed and flowing the nail into the space for 10 to 30 seconds will allow us to take control of the situation prior to making entry. We now know that getting water on advanced basement fires is critical prior to making entry to attack it from above using the stairs. If there are no windows available to get water on the fire using an attack line, then Fognail can be used by deploying it through the floor above to the space below. Caution needs to be taken in deciding to place firefighters on the floor above with the risk of collapse. The attack Fognail can be used on car fires as well. Due to the fact that the nail is thin in structure, you can keep the hood closed and peel the corner up and get the Fognail in to deliver water. You can also make a purchase hole through the engine hood using the Halligan. When doing this, place the hole about 1 foot from the front of the hood to prevent driving the pike end of the Halligan into the top of the motor. This should place the Fognail in the standard void space between the radiator and the motor. The Fognail is an effective firefighting tool, and as with any new tool, we need to be cautious not to try and force it into a situation. As tactical decision makers, we need to understand its uses and apply it only when its function and application meets the needs of the call. As we use it more on incidents, we'll find better ways to improve our efficiency with it, so please share your experiences to the training division so this information can be shared. Thank you.